Shalom, which means peace. It's something that we all hope and pray for in many different capacities. It's sprinkled throughout all the prayers, and deep down within each and every decent human being, we hope and yearn to experience true peace. And in this week's parasha, there's the blessing of V'nasati Shalom Ba'aretz. God promises that there'll be peace in the land. And a couple thoughts on peace. They say the story, a bit of a comical story, about two Jews who are walking to shul. One's name is Shalom, the other Yisrael. And as they approach the synagogue, they see that the path has, puddles and dirt and mud. And they realize that if they both continue walking, they're both going to end up coming to shul all soiled and full of mud. So they think together and say, all right, one of us could climb on the shoulders of the other. This way, at least one of us will arrive to shul clean. Brilliant idea. The question is, who's the one to walk in the mud? So they devise a bit of a plan. They say, well, whoever could come up with a biblical reference to prove that they should be the one to be on top is the one that will be on top. So Shalom perks up and says, oh, well, of course it's me to be going on top. The Torah says, Shalom al Yisrael. Shalom goes on Israel, which is an interesting interpretation of that verse, but literally it could mean Shalom on Israel. So he says, all right, I'm going on top. And so he does. He climbs up the shoulders and he begins the trek through the mud. All of a sudden, Israel slams Shalom down onto the ground into a big pile of mud. And Israel says, well, what was that about? Shalom says, what was that about? And Israel says, well, of course, the Torah says, V'nasati Shalom Ba'aretz, which could mean, and I'll place peace on the ground, peace on the earth, or it could mean, and I'll place Israel on the ground. So he says, well, that's the reason that I put you down on the ground. The Torah says to. And it's a bit of a comical story, but if we reflect on what is in fact taking place and transpiring here, you effectively have two people that are seeking to push their own personal agenda over achieving a common interested goal. And an incredibly important life lesson lies here, and that is that so long as the focus is on pushing our own personal agenda, it's very difficult to see other people's perspective, compassionately understand other people, and ultimately achieve a desirable result in the end. True peace comes from being able to harmoniously, and it takes a fair bit of humility, to put personal agendas aside and focus on achieving what the ultimate outcome is. Easy words to say. It takes a lifetime to truly understand and achieve and accomplish. But as we read the Parsha this week and we talk about peace, let's reflect on the message and some of the ways that we're able to achieve that in our own personal lives. I wish you all Shalom and Shabbat Shalom.